How did you find the human being?
Wonderful, flawed, fragile, but capable of extraordinary achievement. How did you find a human being?
Sort of a person that breathes, walks, skin.
Personality. So.
A human being.
Don't ask me.
A superior animal.
Well, obviously we're an animal,
Yeah.
I'd say. So we're living and breathing. We have...
Emotional responses?
There you go. Took the words right out of my mouth.
Sorry.
No, go for it.
Be kind to somebody.
Well, we will walk more upright.
Capacity to think, which define. You've got to define humans, I think, compared to other animals as well. So we're able to maybe think and, well, you know, the church, for example, doesn't believe animals have souls, or the Catholic or Christian church, I think, and humans apparently do. So that's another defining characteristic, I'd say, of humans versus animals.
We have souls, and after Jesus, let's hope, we have become slightly better than animals, but when you look around and you see some of the things that are happening, you wonder.
I guess something to do with having choices, because you could say a computer is able to think, but a computer doesn't really have choices, it just has to respond to a signal, and humans can actually choose and make up their own mind.
Help each other.
Well, we can talk, communicate through verbal language.
Love each other in your family.
Yes, that's...
Maybe awareness? No, not
Yeah,
awareness.
self-awareness.
Yes, awareness of the self.
That's a very good point, actually.
Sure. Maybe, yeah, the animal doesn't know where it stands in the universe. It can't, define its role in the grand scheme of things. Well, maybe we can't. We probably can't either. But I mean, we can guess. We can alter our environment as well to suit us. I think that's a characteristic of being human, in that we can change things we don't like. Although animals do evolve, we can physically build, I don't know, on a grander scale, and we have control maybe over the animals in a way.
Yeah.
We don't have any natural predators.
Yeah.
Our brains are much more developed, aren't they, kids? Much more developed than an ape, than a monkey.
Animals wouldn't be able to even figure out, something much simpler, because their brain just hasn't developed to the degree that the human brain has. So.
Right.
Well, we've evolved lots, haven't we? From the way we look, the way we walk, the way we think.
If you look at space travel and stuff, we're able to go to space, which is a phenomenal achievement. But I'm always wanting humans, to make more of an effort and to start colonizing other planets, and as you imagine. But it's just, I think it's a monetary thing. I think it's so much more expensive to do technological advances like that than medical.
Sometimes I think we still are very primitive in our ways of life. It's all about survival still, and it's about nurturing and caring for the wee ones.
Does a human not have sort of like better feelings, like love and sort of hate? And
The main difference between a human and a monkey. Well, essentially, a monkey is an animal, so it lacks a sort of higher sort of emotional control over its actions that maybe humans have.
But that also, again, they are intelligent in their own way, aren't
Oh,
they?
yes, they are,
The
yeah.
animals, yeah. Not a lot, really, I suppose.
Yeah, but they couldn't run what
No,
humans can run.
no.
Well, I don't really know. Very cooperating, things like that. Whereas an animal is obstinate, isn't it? If you're comparing the two.
Yeah, the intelligence bit, we've built a whole, we can do a lot more in,
Technology.
yeah, that kind of thing, yeah.
Well, there's very little actually, is there? There's about 1%, according to what I read, we're 90-odd%. Near to an ape or a chimpanzee, aren't we, in the brain? So, there's very little difference really, but we've matured more, I should imagine, technically, whereas they still use simple methods that we used 1,000 years ago.
Well, they're
thinking, sentient, intelligent beings with emotional and intellectual responses to life, and capable of problem solving and developing new ideas, and with an imagination way beyond animal life.
We're more complicated.
More complex, yeah. Yeah, humans are more complex. Emotions take more control than just natural. What's the word I'm looking for? Apes will probably work of habit without thought and a need, whereas humans will probably what goes up there first. Emotions will take control of their actions sometimes, so they're a more complex being.
Human beings probably has a greater sort of capacity for, I don't know, emotional depth and sort of things like morality. Obviously animals don't have that. They're relying on their basic sort of instincts, so I think that's probably one of the major differences.
Well, you will never stem the human quest for innovation and advancement. The problems are sometimes, I think we're in danger of losing control of some of the advances that we've created. And I think you see that in technology and probably science, where some of the innovations that people are working on are capable of great advance, but also capable of great destruction, not necessarily physical destruction, but probably social destruction as well. So it's a very fine balance.
Just superior intelligence.
I can't think of anything else that an animal and a human.
I think that people are so involved with certain explorations that they tend to ignore some of the more basic problems that we've got, like the environment and social problems, which are not as sexy to deal with, but probably more dangerous in the long term and the short term to human life.
And they did cloning before justifying it.
You start cloning human beings, I would say that was a no-no.
I wouldn't say that we had maybe more intelligent, because when you see some of the programs of the gorillas and the chimpanzees, it's marvellous what they get up to.
Technology has come along, made everyone think a lot faster, but we as people aren't emotionally and hasn't been justified in our own heads as to what you can use it for the good. It's just there all of a sudden and slapped in front of someone.
You go back 1,000 years and they still probably had animals as pets, probably with the same amount of intelligence, the pets.
I think humans are more greedy and more run by money, that kind of thing.
I don't know how I should say this in English. I think it's an individual, everyone.
I think the things that they are inventing now, due to being able to work it out on a computer, it's too quick for a natural development which we could handle. So I don't think we're ready for certain things that are out there.
What happens, the next step is going to be a human, and you would know you were marrying, would you?
To say, here it is, we've done this, there's no logic behind that as far as people, the common man, if you like, people in the street, they're not involved with research, etc. Suddenly this thing's hit the headlines. Suddenly you've got a moral dilemma, which goes back to that first point, the emotional side of it. That's where we develop.